All right, we're joined from the shores of Lake Michigan and the Windy City, the beautiful city of Chicago, by my friend Alexis Brown, the founder of Causing a Stir, the founder of Serving Life Behind Bars, hospitality expert, bar expert, one of the top young mixologists in the country, been featured in so many magazines, just really, really up and coming, and a great Instagram follow as well. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. We're in the hospitality and tourism career cluster, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools at Rhodes Scott, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you again. It's the third time you've been with us, and we're always so glad to have all the insight you have into the service industry.
Yes, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for welcoming me again. That was such a nice intro.
Well, it's well deserved. Now, before we get into all you do and all the different careers and skills in the service industry, you're originally from Illinois, and you went
Yep.
to Southern Illinois University and did
Yes.
not go for hospitality. So
No.
talk about that transition from high school into college and how you kind of got into this industry, because it's not something you really need a college education to get into.
No, no. So let's take it back to high school. So in high school, when I was deciding on my, major or what I wanted to go into, I was kind of undecided, but I knew that I had a couple of pathways already lined up for me, if you will. My aunt was a dentist. I've been working in her dentist office as the customer service front desk receptionist over the summers throughout high school. And it was kind of like destined for me to go that route. But I found that when I, started going through the like science classes for it, I was like, I don't know if I want to be in school that long, and I don't know if it's for me. So I went into communications instead. I minored, I did a split major, um, but like I said, I didn't really know that I was going to go into hospitality. I didn't go to school for hospitality. But what I did coming out of college, I decided that I wanted to kind of take bartending, which I had been doing to kind of pay the bills through college. I decided to take that seriously because I found that when I started learning about cocktails or I started learning about spirits and wine, I started learning more about the world, and it kind of made more sense to me then. I understood, how the trade routes worked and what came from where and what influenced certain different culture in different places. So it was more fascinating, and like I said, it was just another way for me to learn about world economics and history and just sociology from wine and spirits. So I started to compete in cocktail competitions. Utilizing storytelling. Again, remember, did study communications, but I did want, I like the storytelling aspect and like the marketing of different brand stories. So understanding their story and their heritage was, again, like kind of interesting. And that kind of led me to where I am now. So am the I am one of five Hennessy ambassadors. So I work on the Hennessy cognac portfolio, and I work for LVMH, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy specifically. And I do all of the brand education, staff trainings, and cocktail curation for Hennessy. So obviously you all are a little bit young, so you don't need to be knowing too much about cognac. But one of the things that I found once I got into this space in my kind of 10 plus years of bartending and meeting different instructors, I wanted to emulate that. I wanted to be one of those instructors. And that's how I kind of worked my way to this. Trade advocacy. So getting up new people into the industry, giving resources and tools, educational tools, is something that I think is important. And just motivating and inspiring people to get into this industry is kind of also what my job is. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today.
Uh,
So,
yeah, absolutely. Because all these kids think I'm joking because I was I was in the restaurant industry 11 years myself. Now, 9 of those years was only part time, but I was able to make more money doing that than just about anything else I've ever done.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I went to college. I did not finish college, but when I did, I make about the same amount of money that the people that I went to school with and did their 4 years or got their master's make in my position. And it really was just I guess finding my gifts and what my talents were and just making them bigger and being able to have platforms and stages to showcase myself on is kind of how I got where I got, but it doesn't take a formal college degree to get to this level or to achieve these goals. So one of the things that I like to talk about is, I think that in our industry, there are people that just for the money, and there are people that are that, like I said, that light of hospitality is innately in them. And I started off talking about hospitality from an excerpt from a like a little poem book. I did this last time, but I do want to share it again. The book is called A Time for New Dreams, and it's by Ben Okri. He is a poet from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. But a lot of what he talks about is really true. And I think that if anything in here resonates with you, then you might have a little heart or inkling towards hospitality. So I'll just read a couple of the excerpts. So one is he starts off saying, hospitality begins in the soul. Hospitality is more than a rational, deliberate act. It is a way of being. Hospitality ought to be built into a people's way of living. A people can only live the art of hospitality if they transform what they are. Hospitality is not a habit, it's a genius of self that recognizes the genius of other selves. Hospitality takes us back to the root of humanity and the source of rivers. Hospitality is a secret affirmation of the oneness of humanity, a sort of secular kinship. Hospitality is something we should be able to extend not just to our friends, but also to our enemies. The idea of hospitality is challenged most when we are dealing with the unknown. It means that we have faith first, even before we have evidence. And he goes
Wow.
on, and he has a lot of like a lot of little notes here. But I encourage you to pick up that book if you want to read more about it. But just touching on some of the things that he said, I think number 6, hospitality takes us back to the root of humanity, and it's the source of rivers. I do believe that in this time and day and age, a little um we've lost a little like caring a little bit. There has been some care that has been lost. I don't know if it was after COVID, and we kind of, everyone was kind of focused on themselves, and we looked inward. But I think that a part of looking inward is you look inward to figure out how you can be more of service or more of help and give more
Yep.
care to your neighbor. And the people that work in hospitality, it's a selfless job. You do go every day and you put others before yourself for, let's say, those 8 to 10 hours, 8 to 12 hours at times. But at the end of the day, it really is very rewarding to see people see that you are creating experiences for people and those are memorable.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the rewards that I, got out of working in hospitality. And I worked, like I said, I worked front desk, answering phones, kind of being the first point of contact for someone that's coming in and making sure that my spirit and my energy was at a good space. And those are opportunities too. It's not just being a bartender or being a server. There are so many different aspects to this industry that people really kind of don't know about. And I found that out as I started working within. Like, if you enjoy putting on events, if you love curating events, if you like production and like to maybe do lighting or stage production, there are so many different avenues within this industry that people kind of, it goes unnoticed. And I learned that when I got with Mo Hennessy, that there were so many different avenues because we work with so many different agencies, creative agencies that literally help um, create our ideas and bring them to life. So um, I know that I'm like kind of talking to the screen, but I'd like to get a little, is there a way that we can get interactive and ask
Yeah, we're
our,
gonna have some. Yeah, we're gonna have some questions from them. But one thing, but before we came on, I did some research on this, and I know you're in Chicago, which we said the second most visited city in the United States. But
Mhm.
Mississippi last year had 24 million visitors and $7 billion spent in hospitality. So because of our casino industry, this is another place where you can make really good money. And I'm not a big drinker. I never have been, but I've been
Mhm.
able to learn about some of these things because when you're in a restaurant setting, selling a bottle of wine to pair with a meal, or knowing your local craft beers. We have people from when I was working at an Italian restaurant in Ridgeland, Mississippi. People would come in asking to get local craft beers at an Italian restaurant. So people
Mhm.
always want the local things and being able to have the interaction, being able to sell.
Yeah.
And I know I can speak for all the other teachers that will see this is that you don't have to be a public speaker, but being able to sell things, being able to present yourself, being able to have a presentation of drinks, of plates, of dishes, of an event. You can
And
be
I think
very
it's
successful in
passion.
this industry.
It's passion. It's showcasing your passion for things and making people feel. I think that that's another aspect of it too. Is you are imparting emotion on people through your service or through your passion. So yeah, there's a lot of ways. I think about, the distillers, and even if you are someone that maybe is into science or chemistry or things like that, there's some avenues within the service industry with making spirits and showcasing, how those molecules, if you're into viticulture and you really enjoy farming, there are a lot of avenues because we work with a lot of growers. So for instance, with Hennessy, we work with researching how we can be better with our soil and how we can cultivate a better environment for the grapes to thrive, and creating bioculture. So even if you are in biology, biology or chemistry, have interest in there's some avenues within the spirits industry that you can take on too.
Yeah, and I think, and I know we talked about this last time as well. You've also made a name for yourself in Chicago for developing non-alcoholic drinks because, marketing is not just the spirit side. Obviously, the spirit side is important, but you also have designated drivers. You have people that are underage. You have people that are pregnant. You have people that are nursing. You have people that may be on some sort of medication. They want to be a part of the party as well, and you can still
Exactly.
have great presentation. If you make
No,
a great
most certainly.
mocktail, there could be not a drop of alcohol in it. It's still going on Instagram.
Yep, yep. Oh, absolutely. I think that's the more not even saying more, but that is just as creative. Taking a like the you're actually breaking down like a solid. So for instance, so we're talking about apples, carrots, grapes, whatever we're talking about, you're taking that and turning it into liquid and trying to balance it out with other flavors. So I think that that's always that's even more. That's like gastronomy and culinary aspects there as well that you can find a space in.
Yeah, now something I wanted to talk about as well. I know you started a nonprofit there in Chicago called Causing a Stir, and you got national attention on this, and much deserved national attention. You've been in Chicago Tribune, you've been in Food and Wine magazine talking about this, and it's no secret, and this is not an opinion, this is a fact. Segregation really affected the hospitality industry because there were minorities and women working in the industry, but they were in the back cooking or they were cleaning up. They weren't the face of the business. And you talk about in one of your articles that you started out in the coat room. They wouldn't let you
Mhm.
in the front, and this was not that long ago. So you
Yeah.
wanted a way to be in the front and be a life of the party, because that is part of what being in hospitality is. So talk about causing a stir and some of the things you've done to diversify this industry.
Yes. So I kind of use myself as an example. And because of my humble beginnings, so I, started out you know, doing like samplings in the grocery store and giving away, and that's kind of how I was introduced to spirits and flavors and mixology. So I went out to get my bartender's license, and upon getting it, I couldn't I went to some of the best bars and restaurants, and because I didn't have experience in those spaces, I wasn't able to job, but they said that, okay, well, you can start from the back. So basically, I started in the coat room, hanging coats, but again, being a light. Like I think that whatever you do, no matter where you're at, you have to do it with grace and poise. And I think that I let my personality show. I let myself shine through, because no matter where I am, I'm gonna make sure that my light shines. So I think that that, coupled with seeing that some of the resources that were being poured into certain areas of Chicago specifically were not where I was from, and I had to travel to get to there. I had to kind of dig to find this information. So I wanted to create a platform where this information or these resources could be a bit more accessible and people could know about it. So we started a Facebook group, which later on turned into a nonprofit organization, where we started hosting events and made sure that we were bringing educational opportunities to those kind of marginalized communities. Marginalized when we talk about education or talking about resources. There are a lot of food deserts here in Chicago still. And using fresh ingredients and showcasing how to utilize these fresh um, produce in cocktails or in just everyday like teas and things like that. I think that that was most important. So we were able to create um this platform and this organization, and that was back in 2017. And
Yeah.
yeah, it has flourished. And like you said, it got national. It grew very quickly, and and I'm happy for that, because it got the word out and it spread more awareness around what was needed. And because of that, I think it was definitely a springboard and a conduit for more organizations with to reach more people. So I was very excited for that, and I'm very happy that causing a stir could cause a stir.
Yeah, and not only with the opportunities for the employees, you gave opportunities to these some of these restaurants
Brand,
to introduce new wine pairings,
brands
introduce.
and restaurants.
Yeah, and Chicago is a huge brewery town. You know, I know Goose Island is a big one, and Half Acre and Two Brothers are three of the big breweries there in Chicago. And they had even a bigger platform to get in some of these bars that maybe they weren't there. So it really
Yep.
was great for the hospitality industry, but also to diversify the
Locally.
industry, because you know,
For sure.
just like anything else, you need several seats at the table. Now, I do have some great questions. I'm gonna get to as many of these as I
Okay.
can. I
Okay.
love this first. I love this first one. This is Tyranny Kirkland. She's in ninth grade, one of our basketball players here. And she
Okay.
asks, what is your favorite drink to make?
So my favorite drink to make is, well, this is like a two-part answer. So if I'm making a drink, I'm usually making it for someone else. So really my favorite drink to make is whatever you're drinking, right? But to show off technique, my favorite drink is called a Ramos Gin Fizz. It's a cocktail that has cream, egg whites, orange blossom water, gin, lemon, lime, sugar. So it is it kind of, when it comes out, it kind of looks like an orange creamsicle like cocktail. And because you're whipping the cream and the egg whites and everything together, it gets like a little foamy head that rises up above the glass. So that one is my favorite to make, because like I said, it shows off technique. And it's a classic cocktail from New Orleans, and it has some historical context behind it as well.
Yeah, and in a big tourist area, obviously like
Mhm.
Chicago, you can tell that story, which not only it ups their experience, it ups your sales, and it ups your tips. So it really
Yep.
is having that knowledge. You know, anybody can throw something together and say, "Hey, here you go," but being able to present it, being able to sell it, being able to say, "This, you know, I know you're from XYZ visiting Chicago, but this is a cocktail from New Orleans that's made its way up. That's, you know." So it really is a great storytelling time, and really has great communication skills. Can make you a lot of money in this field.
For sure.
I like this one. This is Edward Flowers. He's a ninth grade member of our band here, and he asked, "What is the most interesting part of working in the hospitality industry?"
I think the most interesting part are the people that you meet and the places that they come from. That this is like one of those opportunities where you are literally eye to eye, level to level with another human being. Where you can take the class, you can take the race, you can take political views, you can take religion, you can take everything out of it, because you're able and you're on the same kind of like meeting them on the same level, playing field, if you will. And I think that that's like just a human, like a humanness that you get. So it's the meeting of people from different backgrounds and being able for them to learn from me is just as I'm learning from them. So I think that that's the most rewarding part of it, or that's the best part or interesting, most interesting part.
Yeah, and I can agree wholeheartedly on that one. That was just always so interesting to hear people's stories of why they were passing through, why they were in an area, what they're celebrating. If there's a that was one of my favorites with the birthday parties and the anniversaries and things like that, where people hadn't seen each other in a long time, and you get to be a part of that. Is just really something rewarding about that, and I agree 100% about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I like this one. This is Ashton Job. He's in ninth grade. And he asked, how long did it take you to learn all the different types of cocktails and wines to make drinks the very best?
It is ongoing. It's a never ending journey, honestly. You have your basics and they change from sometimes they change sometimes, but I have been studying and reading about cocktails and wine and spirits. Every year I challenge myself with a different certification. I just completed something called Bar 5 Day, which it goes really in depth. It's about it's the highest level of spirits knowledge that you can get, spirits and cocktail knowledge that you can get. So I'll find out my results pretty soon. But each year you keep going at it because the world is ever changing,
Yep.
and there are new things coming about, and you can never know them all, right? Now I think that I'm going back to history and just kind of fact checking or going back to what I think I know and seeing what was going on back in the like late 1700s and early 1800s.
Yeah,
I think
and
that,
that's a great point because you have new wineries that are coming out all the time where they're trying new things. You have new spirits
Mhm,
coming out, and I know one of the things you do in your business is y'all consult bars and restaurants on how to come up with
mhm.
drink menus. So y'all playing
Yep.
around with this stuff, so the service industry is always changing. There's always new things coming
Always
out.
changing. Yep. It's always changing. It's ever. It's always, and I think that's what I love about it. You never know everything. There's always an opportunity to continue. The continuous learning is something that just brings new life every day to the role.
Now, I like this question. I like that she's thinking about this. This is a Layla Jones. She's a member of our volleyball team and our band, and
Oh, I
and
was
she
a
was
volleyball
asking.
people person too.
Yeah, and she asked about the process to learn, and we just asked that, but she asked, what is easier, working in a high volume bar or starting your own business in the bar industry?
Oh, what's easier was the question. What's easier? I
Yes.
think so. I think that before you can even open up a bar, you need to know how to work it, right? You need to learn from experience and working in it. Like you can talk about things in theory, but everything is never the same, and each day will bring you a new challenge. So I think that working in a high volume, I wouldn't say it's easier, but I think that if it was one or the two, you have to work it in order to know what you're going to experience as an owner. So even if it's for a year, even if it's for 2 years or whatever, like even now with all of the experience that I have, I still don't think I'm ready to open up a bar because one thing about opening up a bar is you need a great team and you need to know how to identify a great team. And you need to know what type of characteristics, what type of traits they need to have in order to build the proper unit that you need. And in order to know that, you have had to work with a lot of different personalities. You would have had to work in certain instances where you have to see how people work together to 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 bring these experiences together. So it's not just building a beautifully aesthetic bar and throwing some stuff on the back and getting people to go. It is a lot more than just that. So I think that if you are looking into entrepreneurship, the first part of entrepreneurship is kind of working and knowing the insides and outs from every aspect of your space.
Yeah, and I think that would be the same for the case in any industry, but especially in the bar restaurant industry, because
Yeah,
people
you
that
don't
just
want
think
people
it'd be
getting over
cool,
on you
yeah, they
either.
want people think it'd be cool to own a bar, but they don't know anything about how to run it. And I
Yeah,
think that's a huge mistake because the startup cost in the service industry might be higher than any other industry.
yeah,
That's
and
something
there's
that
so much
you do not
turnover.
realize.
Yep, so much turnover. A lot of people go into it thinking that it's one thing and then their bar closes in within the first year because they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. So
Absolutely. I love this one. God, I'm glad they're asking the right questions. This is Precious Willis, also a member of our volleyball team and one of our all-state singers here in our music program in Velma Jackson. And she asked, what organizational challenges have you encountered as a hospitality professional?
Oh, that's a good one. Some organizational challenges are scheduling, I think. Work odd hours sometimes. I don't know if I'm answering this the right way, but from an organizational standpoint let me clarify. So are we talking about just within like the like causing a stir, or are we talking about from just the industry as a whole?
I'm getting clarification from her.
Okay.
She says from the industry as a whole.
From the industry as a whole. So organizational challenges as in climbing up the ladder. What ceilings I thought were there, those glass ceilings, honestly have been shattered for me within the last few years. For instance, my senior vice president of Hennessy was a Black woman, Jasmine Allen. She now has left Hennessy, like literally as of a couple days ago, to be the president and CEO of Armando Berniak, which is Ace of Spades, who and working with Jay-Z. So when I think about the challenges that were there before, where you didn't see a lot of like women of color specifically, and I'm talking just from my experience, that was something for me. I've seen those, like I said, I've seen those shattered, though, so it's not a far distant or too far to achieve situation. And I'm happy that I was under that type of leadership to where I can see that in that mentorship. Um, and I'm seeing that more like women and more people of color are exceeding within this industry. I have seen an influx of brands come about in the last few years where we didn't see that before. There were no Black owned spirits companies, and now we see some amazing ones like Fawn Weaver leading Uncle Nearest, and them getting evaluated at like 900 million. So
Wow.
the president and CEO of a $900 million company. And so I didn't see this a couple of years ago. So I don't think that there are any organizational challenges. It's really whatever you set your sights on, you can achieve. Now it may take time, it's going to take diligence, it's not going to come overnight. But other than that, I think the challenge is really just what you see as a challenge and what you can overcome, honestly.
Yeah. Now, something else I did want to mention about the service industry, and I can't believe we didn't talk about this. Is I have kids all the time tell me they don't like getting up early. So if you want to work at night, the service industry could be a great fit for you because when everybody's out is when you're at work, and then you can sleep in. So that's
Right.
where.
Yeah, you can find a fit for you.
So if you're a night owl, this could be a great fit for you.
No, absolutely. There's something for everyone when it comes to lifestyle that you can fit. You have to find truly what works for you. And I think that, like you said, there's something in anything, whether it's in hotels, whether it's in the casinos, whether it's in whatever. There are some spaces. So, like you said, if you want to work overnight, or you want to work, um, you don't want to work during the day, or you have something else that you want to focus on during the day, it's perfect industry for you to find what fits for you.
All right, I got time for two more.
Okay.
This one I cannot read the name, but this is a really good question, so I'll get it whoever asked it. But they asked, what was their main motivation to get into this field?
I think the main motivation was I did some self evaluation in like 2011. I wanted to really figure out what I enjoyed and who I was and what motivated me. And it was really creating experiences for people, however that was, whether it was behind the bar, whether it was creating events or being in event logistics. Um, but I wanted to create memorable experience for people, and I wanted to kind of have a stage to utilize my theater background. So I found I was able to do that all. Oh, and I love to cook. So I was like, oh, well, the bar is easily what I can do because I love to cook. So I'm still kind of mixing things using certain ingredients and bringing flavors together. and I have my stage, which is behind the bar. I could be a personality and a character back there. And people are joy. People, I'm bringing people joy in some type of way, whether it's through fun or whether it's through good eats or whatever. So that was my motivation behind it. Finding joy in every day and something that I could go to work and not feel like it was work. It was something that I enjoyed. I enjoy being at. I didn't want to be in a position where I hated going to work or dreaded going to work. So that's what motivated me.
Absolutely. I got one more. This is Irene Harris. She's one of our volleyball players as well. We're deep volleyball in this class. But
Yeah.
she asked, where do you see yourself in 10 years with your organization?
Honestly, my 10-year goal in 10 years, hopefully I will have hospitality schools across the nation. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
looking to that is one of my goals. That's what my whole aspiration is. I think that we need some brick and mortar kind of like hospitality trade schools. So I want to put those in like neighborhoods where, maybe um the kids don't have funding to go to college or they want to figure out a trade, and this can be where they go for that, and they can learn skills that kind of offer some study abroad opportunities where they can learn more about maybe a specific spirit or a specific in like specifics within the industry that they want to go into, and we can help bridge that gap. So that
That is
is
awesome. That is awesome. Can't wait to see it. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you as always. It's the third time you've been with us, and it's just so interesting every time. But a couple things before we go. Um, First of all, tip your bartenders and servers. I
Mhm.
think that can't be said enough. They are working hard. But you're a great Instagram follow, so give everybody your Instagram because I love seeing the stuff you post.
Yep. So my Instagram is at Lex Luga, Lexluga. Now, if you're under 21, you can't be liking my stuff. But you can definitely send me some messages if you have questions about career paths and where you want to go. But yes, Lex
Yeah,
Luga.
but just I mean, and again, I'm not obviously not advocating
Yeah,
underage
yeah,
drinking,
yeah.
but
That's
you
my
are. But
personal
you're doing
page.
so much
So
cool
it's
stuff there in Chicago. It's just cool to see a
yeah,
glimpse into the industry and one of the coolest cities in the world. But before we go, this industry is not going anywhere. It's only going to grow faster. People are always going to travel. People are always going to be putting on events. People are always going to want good service, and there's a lot of money to be made in this industry. So why
for
should
sure.
these young maybe they're on the fence about going to college. Maybe they're not really sure what they want to do, but they like being around people. Why should they consider getting into this industry?
I think that is just so rewarding. Every day there you have an opportunity to be your best self, a new version of yourself. You are able to learn. I think it's ever changing, ever growing. I think that it's a lot of financially, it's a lot of opportunity. And like I said, whatever you have your eyes set on, you can achieve within this after if it all depends on you. There are no barriers. It's really depending on what you put in, you will get out. So I think that is just really a nice level set to growing and flourishing and finding more out about yourself.
Absolutely, and it's one of the most fun industries you can get into. And I got 11 years in it myself, and it was great for me. So I encourage everybody to at least just start out doing it part time. I mean, you can great
Yeah.
transferable skills into other areas, and then people like you that have made great careers and just up and coming, just doing some amazing things all the way up there in Chicago. Alexis Brown, as always, we thank you
Thank
for.
you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, talk to you soon, buddy.
Bye bye.